Good morning again, folks. As I said earlier, good morning here on the West Coast and good afternoon on the East Coast and good evening in Germany and Switzerland. Do appreciate you coming, and we'll get on and with the presentation in just a few minutes. We have 3 or 4 CEOs of different companies that have been involved one way or the other in the company creation process. And just to give you some context, when Zimtu first started doing this, we thought we were going to be able to use the Henry Ford system of assembly line and make them all the same. Well, that was an interesting plan. And as soon as we got going, I realized that as soon as you added people, then everything had to change. Being as we now know that the most important ingredient in any new public company is not necessarily the opportunity or the mineral property. The most important ingredient is the management team. Because if you've got the right management team and the wrong deal, the right management team will find a new deal. But if you have the right deal and the wrong management team, you're hooped. That is sort of one of the things that Zimtu has learned over the time, that it's really the management team that makes the company. So I've got a number of slides, and what the plan this morning is I've got a couple of slides that are purely on the going public process, and then a slide on each of the 4 companies that we have most recently taken public. Oh, well, one of them isn't quite public yet, but it's an almost public. But I wanted to include it because it's the newest deal that we're in the process of taking public. So Colton, if you could just bring up the first slide here. You notice in all our advertisements, the tagline was go public with Zimtu or without. And so a lot of the information that you will pick up at this presentation is completely usable for a private company that wants to go public on their own. Would be a lot easier if they had Zimtu on side. However, there are, I can see even there's one CEO here who did it on his own, Brandon, how long did it take?
It took me 2 years, Dave, and that was from annoying everybody in Vancouver to write me a check.
Essentially, Brandon's #1 sales trick was he would be so annoying, the person would finally write a check just to get him out of their office.
Yes, that's right.
However, it did work out for him, and his company is up and trading, and he's busy working on a second offering. We'll see where that goes.
And I might add that Zimtu Advantage is doing great things for us with that company. So we appreciate working with you guys.
No problem. Anyways, just a little bit of information. The couple of different routes to go public. There is the initial public offering, or IPO, which you would hear about quite often. And the other the other possibility is a non-offering prospectus or NOP. They're both quite similar in that the process involves filing a prospectus, which is a full disclosure document that discloses everything about the company and its management and its share structure, and including what the opportunity is that they are going public with, whether it be a mineral property or some other sort, a tech deal, some other kind of business opportunity. Either one can be taken public through an initial public offering. Historically, those would be done with or through a brokerage firm here in Canada, but not necessarily. When we were in the thick of company creation, a group came to us that wanted us to do an IPO. So I said, okay. And when we first filed it, all the securities commissions across Canada freaked out and phoned us and said, well, yeah, but who's going to hold the money? I said, our securities lawyer. Oh, and it went through. Unfortunately, that company didn't do that well, but that's the nature of the beast when it comes to new offerings in either on the CSE or through the TSX Venture Exchange. They're both considered high risk opportunities with high potential rewards. So some of the criteria would include that the company needs to have on the CSE that have to have 150 shareholders. In reality, you need more like 180 or 190. On the TSX Venture Exchange, you'd need a minimum of 200 shareholders, but there again, in reality, you would probably want 225 or 250 that then would be considered public distribution. The third route, which a lot of people think is faster, I hope you're listening, Brandon. A lot of people consider faster, although that certainly isn't the case that isn't always the case, because when the new opportunity is going into an existing public company, commonly referred to as a shell, because it doesn't have a viable business opportunity. Typically, the number of shares that would be issued to the incoming opportunity would cause it to be a reverse takeover, which means you're going to have to file similar documentation as to the non-offering prospectus or the initial public offering. The only advantage of the reverse takeover is that in all likelihood you would have public distribution through the company you were taking over. And that public distribution is a fair amount of work. The disadvantage in an RTO like that is that your shareholder base would not have bought into your deal. They bought into somebody else's deal that didn't work out. And now they're being rescued by this new opportunity, which probably included the ugly word that in Canada we call it a rollback, and sometimes referred to as a reverse split, which is kind of a confusing term, but they both mean the same. next, would like to speak a little bit about one of the things that you need in your distribution of your 150 people on the CSE or 200 people on the TSX Venture Exchange is those people have to qualify to be able to buy into the deal. And by qualify, they need to fit one of the prospectus exemptions. Typical bureaucratic way of putting things. In any way, what the exemptions are, and it's a bit of a confusing word, but what the exemptions are, you could be an accredited investor, which means that you have an income of $200,000 or $300,000 if you're going to combine your spouse's income with that. You could qualify by being a knowledgeable employee of certain investment funds or have a net worth of over $1 million. This is the BC Securities Commission or securities commissions across Canada trying to protect potential investors, which has a bit of an unfairness in that it favors the rich and denies the people with less money the opportunity to become rich. Some of the other exemptions would include there is an exemption for family, friends, or business associates. The theory there being that the potential investor is able to rely on people they know to make sure that the opportunity or the deal is appropriate for them to invest in. An offering memorandum could be filed, which is similar to a prospectus level disclosure, and that would allow more people in. The really fun thing is, and I will mention that one of the exemptions that Zimtu intends to market or promote in the near future is if you live in a jurisdiction outside of Canada, then the rules would be whatever the rules are in the investor's jurisdiction. So in the US, that would be very bad because they almost nobody, US, it's very difficult. However, the real advantages for Europeans, and I believe the Swiss fall into the same category, in that they would be allowed to invest no problem. Their position would count in the distribution records. And this year, the Zimtu bus trip is back on, and we'll be promoting that very heavily to open an account in Canada. Being a European, you would qualify for distribution in the going public process. So now we'll talk a little bit about wasn't the order I had in mind, but that's fine. That's fine. We have Nick here. The last 4 deals that we have been involved with, 3 of them are now public, and one of them is I tell people that this company is going to change me from just being a regular ass to being famous. This deal is really quite exciting. Oh, you like that, did you, Brandon? Well, if I can call you annoying, I can call myself an ass, I guess. In any event, it's a company called Core Assets. And this is kind of a fun deal for Zimtu. And it was a property that Zimtu purchased a couple of weeks before Christmas. And these two prospectors came in and were pitching me on this property they were trying to sell us. And so at that time, Nick Broadway, the current CEO of Core Assets, he was working for Zimtu as a geologist. And when I realized that what these two prospectors were really looking for was Christmas dinner, so I called Nick in. I says, Nick, what do you think of this deal? And they went through their whole deal again, and Nick gave it the thumbs up. So we made them a cash offer, cash on the barrelhead, so to speak, and they went for it. That was a few years ago. We financed the company with a 5-cent round after Zimtu and some of its employees put up some money and were issued shares. We then went out to the public at 5 cents. It took a while to get going, but now that it's going, things are pretty exciting. We went public on the CSE under the symbol CC. And currently, Zimtu provides support in terms of office space, financial services, including an experienced CFO. We deliver an ongoing marketing program and administrative support. But we do have Nick Broadway, the president of Core Assets, and he's going to sort of give us a brief update of where we're at. And Nick, maybe you could start off with the current trading price, considering that the Zimtu people shareholders got in at 5 cents. What's it trading at today, Nick?
Somewhere in the 60s, I think, at the moment, about $45 to $50 million market cap. But yeah, I mean, the story Dave told is not too far from the truth. But it started out as just 2 square kilometers of ground. And I brought the prospectors into Dave. And then he fed them the turkey, but anyways, now we have about 1,200 square kilometers of land, and we've identified several different targets. We have several porphyry style systems on the property. The blue property consists of 2 main targets, which is the Labrador skarn porphyry, and then we also have the new discovery zone, which is silver lime carbonate replacement porphyry. So we've been drilling all 24/7 for the past 2 months, and we're going to continue into September and hopefully a little bit of October as well. And we're going to have some drill results coming out here in the next 2 weeks, and we're going to be releasing them in the same order as what we've been releasing our visualization news releases. But we've tapped into a porphyry system at Labrador, and just wait for some results to come back and confirm some of the copper mineralization and gold mineralization that may be there. And then over at the silver lime area, it's a carbonate replacement style deposit. So we're looking at limestone beds with massive sulfide, zinc, lead, silver, copper in them. And the ultimate goal is to find the cosmic porphyry, and the porphyry would be the source of these metals. And the carbonate replacement side of things is just the bonus. Basically, you can have anywhere between 10 150 million tons of ore grade mineralization, 90% plus metal in these carbonate replacement deposits. And then your porphyry is always your ultimate goal. Not easy to find. A lot of places in the world, the porphyry has expended all of its metals into the carbonate replacement. So there's no mineralization of porphyry. But if you can find a carbonate replacement deposit and a porphyry deposit, that's the ultimate goal. There's no better deposit, no better higher metals budget or also mine life than a porphyry with a CRD. And a good example of that is Bingham Canyon. But I'll leave it at that right now, but we're going to continue to have steady news flow, every 2 weeks. And we're looking forward to getting these results out as soon as we get both holes, the full geochemical analysis back for both holes, which again should be in the next 2 weeks type thing. Because obviously the labs there's a lot of assays going through there right now. But yeah, that's the gist of the story, and it did start through Zimtu, and we're still a part of the team here, and we're hoping we can continue to grow the company, and hopefully we're fortunate enough to have a real, good discovery here.
Thanks very much, Nick. Certainly this is one of our latest success stories. We do have a few other success stories, but it's always good to have one in the mineral exploration game. We can only hope that we're going to get, thanks, Nick.
Yeah. Sure.
We can only hope that we're going to get the assay results that we are expecting. And certainly, if you look at the pictures of the core and the description of the core, there's a reason it's called core assets. Our next company that again, when I told you that each one of these deals turns out to be different, we started a company called Dimension 5, and it was attempting to go public successfully. Actually, it went public on an asset that Zimtu was building. It was an app essentially, and it was an app that kept track of trading in Canada and trading at the same time right beside it, trading in Europe. Dynamite idea, brilliant idea, I might suggest. However, it didn't work. I mean, the app worked, but nobody signed up. I guess it's my view that the European market is of more value than the rest of my Canadian fellow friends are willing to admit. In any event, one of the advantages of working with Zimtu on creating a public company is if the first idea doesn't work, then you try again. And that's exactly what happened. The fellow that was running it, Chris Parr, I had met somebody on LinkedIn that had a technology based out of Toronto that essentially took waste plastic, like you see in this turtle's mouth here. It takes waste plastic and turns it, well, I usually say, and turns it into money. But what it really does is it turns it back into an oil product, whether it is a gasoline product or diesel or aviation fuel. They can tweak it to produce any one of those. And the real key about Aduro is that it works on unsorted plastic. And the number one problem with recycling plastic is there are a number of different kinds, and most recycling methods would require that to be sorted. But the Aduro system does not require that. So that's one of the big expenses in recycling plastic. This technology, it's thought that it will be capable of cleaning up the big pile of floating plastic in the ocean on a profitable basis. At the moment, there's a few groups that are trying to clean that mess up by using charitable money. But you and I both know the best way to get something done is to make it profitable. That's what Aduro's up to. They were originally financed again by Zimtu, or the Dimension 5 shareholders, financed it at 5 cents. When we had to change tactics from the app to the Aduro Clean Technologies, that included a 3-for-1 rollback. So that means that our 5-cent guys are now in at 15 cents, but it's currently trading 80 cents or better. So again, a big win for the Zimtu shareholders. The one most recently to go public is a company called Swimbird. It was originally, through most of the funding before we went public, it was called Zambezi. So if you heard about Zambezi, it's now Swimbird, and what an exciting opportunity. We do have and very different than a lot of the things we do. This isn't cleaning up plastic. This is just sheer fun. I told Justin, I mean, what a nice thing this is for Zimtu, because now we get, instead of selling rocks or some sort of technology, we get to sell beaches and beaches. Anyway, Justin, maybe, and anyway, we originally financed Swimbird at 5 cents, 7.5 cents, and a tiny little bit at 10 cents. And that was, again, an interesting evolution in that Justin used to be the investor relations person for Commerce Resources. So he worked out of our office for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, and developed a great rapport with a number of either Commerce shareholders or Zimtu shareholders, who then, of course, got in at 5 cents or 7.5 cents. It just recently has gone public and is trading slightly higher than that. But we do expect great things from Swimbird, and Justin will maybe tell you a little bit more about the actual product.
Thanks, Dave. And yes, just a quick word to what Dave was saying about our shareholder base. It has been one of our singular strengths. We have been very, very fortunate in the makeup of our shareholder base, which has been rock solid, and is also a very valuable repository of experience, business experience, because as Dave mentioned, we're in a completely different segment. We're about to launch a consumer product. We will actually be selling something, and very, very soon. Zimtu's involvement in getting the product to this point was absolutely pivotal. We would not be here without the support of Zimtu. It is very exciting. I can tell you that the moment that everyone's been waiting for is imminent. We have had 2 of the first factory boards in Vancouver. They haven't been deckled yet, but I can tell you that the road that we've been on has led to an amazing success, even lighter than the pre-production boards. I've been carrying my one around 6, 7, 8 kilometers in one day, swimming miles. Can't walk 10 feet without someone asking you questions about it. It's a slam dunk, folks. We have promotion going on all over the world right now. Greece has just finished. Turkey is the one VP's in Turkey right now. We're promoting in the interior, in the Okanagan, and of course in Vancouver. But it has been a remarkable story, and keep your eyes peeled because it's a remarkable game-changing product. Not a single person who experiences it does not agree it's a game changer. It is the future. I had the guy who served me a hot dog on English Bay, the guy who runs a hot dog stall in English Bay. You've seen these boards coming for years, all the prototypes, turn to me and say, that is the future. And this is a guy from Egypt. So if a guy from Egypt can look at that board from behind his hot dog stall and say, that is the future, I think we can all be assured that everyone will see it. End of speech. As Dave knows, I'm fairly long-winded, but it is very exciting. And I hope to be able to show the first factory board to all of you very, very soon.
Thank you, Justin. And just a little commentary. Justin and essentially the company was started by Justin and his two brothers. In any event, Justin and one of the brothers was at the PDAC, which is the big mining show. And so certainly they stuck out, but they were in the Zimtu booth, very well received. I've been telling people for years that these mining shows are really investment shows, and people that attend them aren't necessarily interested in mining companies. They're interested in companies that are going to go up, and certainly where Swimbird is at the moment, they have the potential to go up. Now, you might have noticed all the way along each of these companies is listed what Zimtu owns. You can certainly see that with a few wins of some of our older companies or some of these new companies could make Zimtu stock a serious bargain. Moving on to Eagle Bay. Eagle Bay is not public yet. We're just in the process. It has a long and curious history with Zimtu in that Darouge Geological and Zimtu originally staked and sold about half the property that Eagle Bay has now, and sold it to a diamond explorer. Yeah, you're right. I'm a good salesman. These diamond explorers, they bought a rare earth property. The difficulty is they're diamond guys, and even though they did drill it, did spend some money on it, they never did get the company public. So Zimtu offered to step in and take over. So they had issued themselves 18 million shares or something to that extent. And I said, well, if we're going to take over, I want you to option half that stock to Zimtu at a very advantageous price. And we'll get it public. As I've told you once or twice already, the important ingredient in any new junior exploration company is the management team. So I put Steve Minot in the lead position to get this company public, and then Zimtu added Dawson and Adam. Where are you guys?
They're there somewhere. There's one.
Unmute yourself there, Adam, and just say hello. And you too, Dawson.
Hi,
How's it going?
I'm Dawson. Nice to meet you all.
I'm Adam. It's nice to meet you guys.
So these two guys, using Zimtu's database, phoned the whole database, sometimes more than once, and we financed it for. Anyway, Steve, tell us where we're at and where we're going.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Good morning, good afternoon. Thanks everyone for joining us. Currently, where we are at, even just this morning, had closed up the second round of financing for Eagle Bay. As Dave had mentioned, there's quite a few shares that are outstanding. However, to keep in mind, and what's been a great opportunity and very encouraging about this financing, is the round that has just been closed up. It's only 13 million. That's the only one that is free trading. So we're able to keep this a very tight structure for the first year. Where we're going, I can say is this picture that you're looking at now. This was just taken in May. I was up myself on the property with our lead geologist, and both of them are very, very encouraged and excited about the amount of claims that we do have. When we first started with Eagle Bay, the claims that we did have, Dave and I went and looked to further expand that. Just with the demand that has been out there, as many of you know, with the electric vehicle market, the subject of rare earth elements, people are looking for those resources. So now we are sitting at over 12,000 hectares. The map that I've shared prior presentations you have seen, and is quite a substantial amount of claims, and primarily these claims are carbonatite claims, which is what the demand is out there. So again, you know, where we are going, we have a 43-101 in place. We look to be doing a work program and then go into a drill. But this is something that has been very, very exciting, very encouraging. And, you know, at this time with Zimtu being behind it, it's a big benefit for going public, because you already have the trust and relationship built with shareholders. You have the trust and relationships built with the CSC already. So that right there cuts out a lot of time and helps any company that is creating and Zimtu behind it move forward a lot quicker than others that may be out there that don't have the support. So anyhow, we are close to going public here in this market at the moment. I mean, yeah, we know the markets haven't been great, but at the same time, that's a chance for Zimtu to look for opportunity. And we're still here at Eagle Bay. We've, as I said, just closed up our second round of financing, and we're on the home stretch here to be going public on the CSE.
And that should happen in the next 6 to 8 weeks. The key ingredients to going public is to have the shareholder distribution, of which certainly Eagle Bay now qualifies completely in that aspect, thanks to Adam and Dawson. The other ingredients are a 43-101, which is a geological report written to a Securities Commission recipe. I think they do that so it's easier for them to read, because the information is in the same order as the last one they read, and the one before must be a very boring job. But anyway, I don't do that. I'm glad I don't. But we do have the 43-101 that now is one of the qualifying things. So we have the distribution, we have the 43-101, and the lawyer is now busy putting those two items together and filing a prospectus, and then it'll be brought to trade. So that's Eagle Bay. Certainly, one of the things I do want to mention is that the European bus trip is back on this year. To hell with COVID. We're coming to Europe. We're coming to see you. And this was a picture that was taken back in what are you doing, Colton?
I don't know. Not an issue. Sorry.
This was a picture taken back in some years ago at one of our tours. You can see that on this trip we had quite a crowd, which we expect to have again. I believe that's Richard Groom, who one of his associates signed up for this event today, And can you just show everybody? Yeah, that guy. That's what's his name again? He's the president of the CSE. He's a very, very funny man. He would, well, of course, he spoke at all our events. But he entertained the boys on the bus between each of the cities. And the European bus trip starts off in Geneva, where we put on, Zimtu puts on its own show at, some big hotel. And we typically have a networking room and a presentation room. Each of the companies presents for 15 to 20 minutes with a question and answer period. The networking room, of course, is always open in case you don't want to listen to my opening. You don't have to show up for that. You just need to show up for the company presentations. And certainly Richard Carlton, that's the man from the CSE. If he's speaking, you want to listen because he's very funny. Anyway, then it goes on to Zurich, same sort of format. Then we're back on the bus to Frankfurt, same kind of format there. And then off to the Edematel Messe, the big European show that's the most appropriate for Canadian, or I have to admit it, even Australian exploration companies. I go to an Australian lunch place most days, so I had to throw in the Australian thing. In any event, we will be promoting very heavily this year to encourage Europeans that want to open a Canadian brokerage account. We will have a number of brokers on the bus. You will be able to, if you're European, you'll be able to meet them, which is one of the big criteria to open a Canadian account. It's a rule by the Securities Commission that they insist that it's called the Know Your Client rule. That's aimed at brokers, but from an investor's point of view, then they have to know the broker. It's kind of a two-way thing. In any event, certainly it's been a pleasure telling you about the one of the aspects of the Zimtu business model. If anybody's got any questions, I would be happy to answer them. We're always looking for new opportunities to take public, and we're looking to help our followers, our shareholders, make money, because that's what I do, is I make money for other people.
Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so that you don't miss another update.